Welcome to Main Street Minds with your host, Amish Munshi. This is where industry leaders and seasoned pros share their secrets to success beyond limits. Let's dive in.
Hey Todd, how are you? Welcome to Main Street Minds. That's the name of this podcast. It's meant for the local businesses to getting to know each other and then collaborate in a way to serve their clients in a much more meaningful and a better way. So thank you for coming over and welcome you and open up the floor to you to introduce yourself and provide a little more details about the things you like to do and the services you provide.
Awesome. Amish, thank you. I truly appreciate it. This is very exciting. I don't do enough video, so this is, I'm excited to, begin my initiative to become more video aware, if you will. But I'm excited. So my name is Todd Galde. I've been with Cross Country Mortgage for the last 3 years, a little over 3 years. I've been in the mortgage and home financing industry since 2001, so it's been a little over 22 years. And another fun fact is my father actually got into the business in 1979, so I kind of grew up in the business. He got in when I was 10 years old, and so this business is all I've known. And I did a little stint after college in the dot-com era. I graduated in, when did I graduate? Mid-90s. And so until about 2000, 2001, I did the internet. I was at a couple of private companies that we ultimately got bought, which was cool.
Sweet, nice. So tech background definitely kind of goes really well with financing and real estate, right? It kind of most people will not expect it, but there is a lot of skill set that does translate over. Attention to details, being able to handle multiple different things, multiple different people asking us to do the same thing, and all of them have different expectations, right? So all of that kind of carries over into the lending business.
Yeah, exactly. Ironically, it's funny because we, these days we talk about AI, and everybody's afraid of, in our industry, of the automated mortgage kind of taking over, and this happened 20 years ago or 15 years ago when the dot-com era was really exploding in the early 2000s. And I don't remember the name of the company, but there was one company in particular that was really touting, push button. It wasn't Rocket Mortgage, but they had a similar theme, push button, get mortgage. And it never transpired. I think they ended up going bankrupt because, as you know, there's a fraction of borrowers who fit the perfect box, and maybe those borrowers can actually push button get mortgage. But for the bulk of people that are out there who need credit repair, or a lot of people are self-employed or have variable income like 1099 and commission income, a loan officer is necessary to help interpret all of that and to advise on wise courses of action for obtaining financing. So I'm not worried about technology taking over, but you're absolutely right. It has become crucial. My background in today's economy, right, in terms of the use of technology, right?
Yeah, and I think have you seen technology helping you? Like, have you I would say you have 55 years of experience doing lending with your dad. That's a lot. And now I know how exactly you reach the access to $62 trillion, right? So anyone who doesn't know, Todd has access to $62 trillion. If you need money, he will figure out a way to get you. But just ask for enough money, right? Don't ask for something small. So have you seen technology evolve? Have you seen lending improve with the use of technology?
Yes, for sure. The obvious transition that I have seen is when I was growing up in the 80s, and my father was, a loan officer with several different companies, and he actually owned his own mortgage banking company. in the late 80s. Back then, this is a great example, the credit report that you obtained for a borrower was actually compiled, like you compiled all of their debts together, their car payment, the car loan payment, school loan payments, and you had to compile them all together and you mailed them off to the credit bureaus, and then a week later you get the credit report back. And so obviously in today, right, it takes 30 seconds to input, the borrower's information to obtain a credit report, and it's like instantaneous, right? So that's a good example of the great use of technology. And then the other one obviously is the input of data. From an application standpoint. We have an application online form that actually triggers a needs list for the borrower based on their inputs. So if they're a W-2 borrower, then we may not ask for tax returns, just W-2s and pay stubs, but it's automated based on the inputs. So I've seen technology take it
exactly, and that. Yeah, and in addition to the process, I think even the level of education, right? The videos that you put out on your YouTube channels, the information that you put out on your social media, and all of that kind of helps the borrower understand and become a little better prepared. And I have seen a lot more borrowers now who kind of know what little bit, I would take that with a grain of salt, right? They don't need to know all the technicalities, but they kind of at least come up with better prepared. It's almost reached the stage where they come a little over prepared sometimes. Most of them believe we need a 20% down payment, we need 25% down payment, but at least they are coming up with that expectation. They are coming up with the expectation saying, hey, investment property is a little more expensive, although I still need to make sense of it. Like, I would say investment properties are a little more safer than primary home because that property is making money. But all of that kind of, the borrower is coming in with a little more education, so that definitely helps. So what made you switch from the technology into lending?
Yeah, that's a good question. So let's see, it was the mid-90s. I had joined a company called DoubleClick. What was you remember Google had just, I think Google was founded in the late 90s, and DoubleClick, I think I was employee number 37.
Oh.
And the company was actually founded on Madison Avenue in New York, but as they were growing, they created a West Coast office in San Mateo. And DoubleClick was the internet advertising giant, if you will, in the beginning, and ultimately it is still the giant. It was actually acquired by Google for over $1 billion in the early 2000s. But if you run your cursor over most online ads in a web browser these days, you're going to see in the URL line at the bottom ad.doubleclick.net. So DoubleClick powers, statistically, I'm not sure how much, but it was like 50% of ads across the web. Then one of my clients, when I was at DoubleClick, was called Listen.com. And this was in 98, 99. And we were creating an online repository for music. And I have a great passion for music. And so I joined Listen.com in its infancy. And we were creating this massive search engine for music and being able to purchase music legally online. I don't know how old you are, but if you remember in I think it was 1999, a guy by the name of Sean Fanning, does that name ring a bell at all?
Yeah.
Okay, so he created, here we were chugging along, creating this repository. We've got, agreements with Madonna, and most of the major studios and recording artists and whatnot. And all of a sudden, Sean Fanning, out of his dorm room, creates Napster. And if you remember, Napster was the ability to download MP3s for free. And so within 6 months, our business model was completely obliterated. Nobody's going to pay $1.99 when they can download it for free.
Right. Yeah, I think I've used Napster. I've tried using it, downloaded stuff over dial-up, and I was like, I'll just listen to radio. It was, yeah, this was like 90s, late 90s in India over a dial-up that I couldn't afford to pay for a good ISP either, so it was that bad. It was a free internet.
That's so funny. That's right. So in India, so you actually were able to download in India, but not. Yeah, we had our bandwidth here was ahead of like international usage. So, anyways, so we created. So our business model was shot. So within 6 months, we built an online streaming service to compete with iTunes.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was amazing what we did. And within 6 months, we created Rhapsody, which was the number 2 online streaming service behind iTunes, and then we ultimately got acquired by Real Networks.
Yeah, was it? I've seen like some integration of Rhapsody with. I think there was a music player called Winamp, right?
Yep.
I think there was like some integration over there. That's where I had seen it.
Yep.
Beautiful little interface and like nice, entertaining music.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, so how did you come into lending, and kind of what are you doing right now that you're very passionate about?
Yeah, I thank you for asking. So when our business model got changed, we got acquired by Real Networks. My dad was kind of wanting to phase out of the business because his health wasn't good. So he said, "Why don't you come join me?" And this was the early 2000s when the .com bubble burst essentially. And so I said, sure. So I joined my dad in his mortgage practice in Milpitas. Scared to death because when I was at DoubleClick and Listen.com, my roles were interfacing with people, giving presentations, right? I was a sales engineer for DoubleClick, and I would give presentations to thousands of engineers on how to install and implement the DoubleClick ad technology. Loved that, right? I love the personal relations. Mortgage freaked me out because it was all about math and crunching numbers. And I said, Dad, you know me, I'm gonna suck at this, right? And I'll never forget it. He pulled out a calculator, right? And he said, "What's 1 plus 1?" I don't need a calculator for that, Dad. He said, just do it. What is it? 1 plus 1 equals 2. Right. Okay, will the calculator ever lie? No. Okay, will 1 plus 1 be anything but 2? No. Okay, so the numbers speak for themselves, right? Those are never going to change, right? Mortgage and real estate, those two industries together, is more about people than it ever is about numbers. It's about relationships, it's about communicating, and effectively, translating a complicated concept, most people think it's complicated, into a layman's, interpretation of things. So helping people that don't know anything about it understand it. All right, I could do that, right? That's exactly what I was doing at DoubleClick. So he kind of softened the blow for me and assuaged my fears. And so I stepped in and began working with him. And since then, it's been a passion of mine. We've done, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in loans and, served thousands of families throughout the country. And I continued to wake up in the morning thinking, who can I serve? Who is the next person in line who, needs our services? And it's been that way ever since.
Yeah, and I think I can already see that transition, right? It's going through the loan process is like playing music. You have to be good at it, and hopefully it's something that everyone else is also enjoying through the whole process. Yeah. And it does end up coming down to closing and saying how we conclude the symphony.
Yes, there's different players that have to play their parts, right?
Right. Imagine if one of them is not doing it right and everything blows up.
Exactly.
Sweet. So yeah, are there any like very special products that you offer, like something that solves the most common problems that you see in today's world?
Yeah, so Cross Country Mortgage we're the third largest retail lender in the nation. So that allows us to be direct to the Federal Home Loan Bank, to Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and direct to the source of the financing, if you will, for conventional conforming loans, which is the largest percentage of home mortgages in the U.S. We also have a lot of out-of-the-box financing, what we call non-QM. QM stands for qualified mortgage, which is the more the common loans, the ones that are sold on the secondary market. But for people that don't qualify for those mortgages, for example, self-employed people, right, that write off everything on their taxes because they can, right, those expenditures. Well, that income becomes not usable for conventional mortgages, so we're able to originate a loan using out-of-the-box products like called non-QM products, right? So we have those solutions as well. But my favorite is something that I started working in about 5 years ago, and that is bridge financing or cross-collateralizing of properties in order to effectively help people purchase their next house before they have to sell. So I actually I own the domain buybeforesell.com, and when I was being recruited by Cross Country Mortgage, they were willing to build the buybeforesell.com website for me. And so that today is what I promote the most, especially here in the Bay Area, because you have the combination of a lot of homeowners with a lot of equity, right? I mean, trillions of dollars of equity. And many of those homeowners have been in their home for 10, 15, 20 plus years, and they're wanting to make the transition, move to be closer to grandkids, maybe downsize, right? But they don't want to have to sell first. So it's a great solution for people like that.
Yeah, that is really innovative and new. So if I understand this right, so somebody can actually buy another house. They don't need that extra 300,000-400,000 that might be needed to get that new home, or if they're even downsizing, that's probably even easier. Or if they're just moving from Bay Area to anywhere else, or downsizing is probably the easier ones, right? The larger equity can be used towards the down payment. How does it also work for somebody moving into California? Like if somebody has lived somewhere else, gets a new job over here, how would have you seen those scenarios work out as well?
That's a great question. So it's a little bit more complicated when you're going into California, primarily because our source of financing is private equity. So it's not your traditional lenders, and so private equity licensing. And when I say private equity, I'm literally talking about friends of mine who have millions of dollars, right?
Yeah.
Who are willing to lend on a transaction like this. They have to have specific licenses, and you're aware of the very specific state specific licenses, and most of them only have the license for the states that they lend in. So for 2 of my 4 investors, it's California specific.
Sure.
They can only lend in California, so we can only borrow against properties in California. The other two are approved in other states like Washington, Oregon, Arizona, Nevada, and so in those states we can facilitate exactly what you're describing. But for the most part, it's been California exclusive.
Right. So it is. So you are able to help everyone, kind of somebody moving within California, somebody moving out from California to another place, and then somebody moving from other place to California as well. So yeah, that is amazing. So it almost feels like magic. Like this is a solution that I think is relevant to almost everybody, right? Most people move every 5 years, right? That's kind of the average. So if the first time they buy a home, yeah, that's there. Like there is traditional financing options available for that. And then when they if they live in a house for let's say 30 years of their life, uh, that will be about seven moves. So this problem, I have not heard of this solution before that you did mention, buying before selling, and a lot of people are just stuck saying, I will have to sell my house, live in a hotel, live at a friend's place, or buy a house, somehow buy two houses. I don't know how it's how people might qualify, but this is a very unique new solution that can help everyone to get a new home, not be stressed out, play out the time. There's real estate markets are cyclical, right? There's always a buyer's market and a seller's market. You can take advantage of both if you're not crushed on time. So this is a amazing, unique solution.
Yeah, thank you so much. I am very excited about it, and I've experienced firsthand the anguish that homeowners that are in their 60s, late 50s, 60s, who want to make the move, but they've been in their home for so long, right? They know it needs work, right? And they know that their income, which has, most of them are retired, and so they transition to retirement income. Well, that income can't qualify for another mortgage until they sell their existing home, right? And so they feel stuck. And that's, I would say most of the clients that I work with feel that they have to sell first. And then when they think about what it's going to take to sell first, you just highlighted many of the issues, right? Where to stay in between, the carrying costs. I mean, there's so many factors that come into preventing someone from making that decision to sell first. And so they just they put their head in the sand and they say, we're not going to think about it. And then when we get introduced to them, or we propose the opportunity to buy their next house up in Reading or Tahoe or wherever it might be, I'm not kidding you, people have cried in front of me or on Zoom because they had pent up this frustration for so long, and within 10 minutes we're able to solve it for them, right? Yeah,
it's amazing. Let me know anyway how I can help you spread this word, because this is a very meaningful solution. A lot of people will still be skeptical, so feel free to reach out to Todd. This is real, right? I've seen it happen. Like I've referred people to Todd. They've called me saying, Amish, I thought this was not possible, but I'm actually doing this. So yeah, thanks Todd for helping people.
Absolutely, I appreciate the opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is really cool. And are you personally able to do lending across the whole country?
Yeah. So with conventional financing through cross country, we are approved in all 50 states.
Mm-hmm.
So for people that need help in other states, I absolutely love. We've done lots of loans. Texas, Florida, Idaho, certainly Washington and Oregon. So yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Cool. So I would say you're able to offer a variety of financing options, right? So I would say if you ever think you're stuck or something, Todd always generally has a solution. He has solved about 6 of my scenarios which I was stuck on. So I always reach out to Todd when I need any help.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. Sounds great. So, what do you like to do outside of work? Do you like to play sports?
Yeah. So, thank you for asking. For many, many years, I've had a passion for hiking, and so my family and I have taken my daughter to Mount Whitney several times. So we've summited Whitney, which is the tallest mountain in the contiguous 48 states. I've done Shasta several times. And there's a mountain range on the eastern side of California that has 15 14ers. And what a 14er is essentially a mountain that's 14,000 feet or higher, and that's considered a big mountain, right? And so I have a passion for hiking and climbing. My recent passion is pickleball, of all things.
Yeah.
And I have, oh my gosh, I've gotten so excited with this. And I'm in my mid 50s, and so I'm too old to go back to football, right? At least playing. I could coach it. Baseball I still enjoy, but that's still
Yeah.
on the old joints there. Pickleball is one of those sports that you can pick up at any age, and within 3, 4, 5 hours of playing, get proficient at. And in this area, the San Ramon, Danville area, there's pickleball courts are popping up everywhere, and it's getting very competitive. So anyway, that's my passion. Yeah.
Yeah, we should definitely go and do that. Like I know last time you offered up and I was heading into a meeting, so I couldn't join. But we should definitely catch up and ask. And after we do that, we'll inform Brad and Steve about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everybody together.
Yeah, exactly. So this was really good. Do you have any final comments, or how do people reach you? Where anything that you would like people to know about you?
I really appreciate this opportunity, and you can go to toddgalde.com to get all my contact info and reach out and whatnot. And I guess I'll end with I love helping others figure out solutions for home financing. And I come from a family of teachers. So my wife is a teacher, my mom was a teacher, my dad was a teacher before getting into home financing. And so that's a part of my process of originating a loan, is helping people, navigate through those steps so that it's not just a matter of closing the deal and getting the keys, but so they understand, right, everything that's going on. They feel knowledgeable and empowered after we've actually closed on their loan. So, but Amish, thank you again for the opportunity to be here. This has been really powerful.
Yeah, and I can definitely second that. I've had very good experience in learning stuff from you, getting to know BNI. Thanks for being the educational coach over there, as well as all the very detailed information that you have for mortgage, and the 55 years of experience that you bring in to the industry. And the $62 trillion is just something that you have on the side that you can give out to people when they ask for it, right?
There you go. Yep.
Cool. Sounds great. Thanks. Thanks, Todd.
Thanks, Amish. You bet. Have a great night.
Bye.
Okay.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Main Street Minds. Want to share your journey with our audience? Head over to mainstreetmindspodcast.com/guest to apply.